Dirt riding can be expensive, really expensive. In fact, a good training technique is to leave your wallet on the front counter of your motorbike shop and tell staff to help themselves. But you can dirt ride on the cheap. Try some of these dodgy tight ass tips for tight wads. Your bike. Buy a second-hand one. If you are good at home mechanics and maintenance, buy an old one. A good rider on a 10-year-old bike will always whip the arse of the noob on the latest and greatest dirt bike.
Nicely done. See how Scotty goes? Lovely, lovely.
Two-strokes will usually be cheaper to run and maintain. If you need to commute as well, a dual sport bike like the DRZ is always a possibility. Our two riders on DRZs can do at least 90% of the stuff we can on our Eurotrash Wonder bikes. Want a new bike? A new bike devalues by $2,000 once you sign on the dotted line. Look, plenty of guys sell their barely used bikes because it was an impulse buy or they can't manage their money well. Try buying a bike with less than 20 hours and save thousands. Oh, and check the price of spare parts first. For example, the horrific cost of some KTM parts has dropped significantly in recent years, but they can still really burn a hole in your wallet. There are usually aftermarket options that will be much cheaper than genuine parts, such as hand levers, bearings and plastics. Especially with bearings. Go to a bearings shop and you'll get the best Japanese bearings for a fraction of the cost. I also know guys who put new grease in their wheel bearings regularly. They seem to last forever. Tyres. It's ridiculous when we Gumby level riders think tyres are so important, or how worn the knobs are. Don't throw your tyres out just because the knobs have slightly rounded off. Your riding ability is far more important than the rubber you are using, except in the bedroom, of course. Instead, see your worn tyres as a good opportunity to work on your traction skills. Then replace them when they are seriously hampering your riding or beginning to get dangerous. Also, try getting a knobby knife and cut a new edge on that worn rear knobby. Engine oil. I suspect the advertising gurus really have fun with us everyday riders here, telling us we must mortgage our homes to buy fully synthetic engine oil sprinkled with fairy dust, or we will destroy our engines. I have been researching this, and typically oil experts say the main advantage of a synthetic oil is it's less likely to break down under extreme heat. So if you aren't racing, don't sweat it. The main key is just get a motorbike-specific oil so it doesn't have the additives in car oils that can make your clutch slip. Me, I've been using Castrol Activ 4T for years now because it's cheap and it does the job. I don't care if my manufacturer recommends a particular synthetic brand. Usually they just run with whoever will give them the best deal on engine oil for their new bikes. Also, some guys replace their oil way too often, sometimes after every ride. Look, if you're not racing, I think this is just wasteful and seriously unlikely to prolong your engine life significantly. Just stick with the manufacturer's recommendations for oil changes.
Do your trick.
Chain and sprockets. Your front sprocket usually wears twice as fast. Replacing this early will help you get more wear from the chain and rear sprocket. Steel sprockets, usually cheaper, and they last longer than alloy sprockets. If you can feel the weight difference when riding, then you are probably just fooling yourself. An interesting point here, consider not lubricating your chain. See our video comparing lubed chains to running chains dry. Me, I've found no difference in wear. Keen to hear your thoughts though. Bling! Will that anodized rear brake pedal make you faster? Will the weight savings from titanium bolts transform your technique? If you have money to burn on useless shit and it makes you happy for a few minutes, go for it. But for anyone on a budget, try spending money on fuel and actually riding the bike. And for God's sake, stay with your original exhaust. Loud pipes just close down our riding areas, and you obviously don't have the skills to use that extra half a horsepower. The only worthwhile bling, of course, is the anodized billet fuel cap. These are a serious investment. Do all your own mechanical work if possible. You'll save a ton of money. But if you are a mechanical muppet, then the mechanic is probably cheaper in the long run. I have learned this the hard way. Regular maintenance is a no-brainer for saving money in the long term. Lube all those pivot points, clutch cables, do your engine oil and air filter as needed, check your spokes, sprocket and chain. Wash your bike by hand. You can regularly check your bike over to detect problems early. Ride within your limits and become a better rider. A few years back, I was regularly replacing broken parts from idiot crashes. But since getting into the cross training, all our crashes are at low speed, so we almost never seem to break anything. And this keeps our wallets happy. Where possible, stop on slopes. It's good practice for bump starting and less wear and tear on your starter motor. Instead of accelerating hard and braking hard, focus more on carrying corner speed and a consistent pace. Everything wears out less and you become a better rider. Riding gear. You can waste ridiculous amounts of money here. And the advertisers are very keen to convince you that style is more important than substance. First, use your riding gear until it really wears out. I can't believe some guys think it's important to be wearing the current year's jersey and pants. For fuck's sake, is it a fashion show or dirt riding? A few rips in your gear will have much more cred than this year's latest new colours. Helmets, so much bullshit here, with manufacturers saying they use carbon fibre and gold fairy dust. Give me a break. Just try and get a helmet with the European standard. This is the best out of a bunch of out-of-date standards. And if you can get extra safety features like MIPS or a variable density liner, then that can't hurt either. See our helmet vids. Boots. I strongly believe cheap boots won't protect you, and they wear out so quickly it's false economy. Strapped for cash? Consider buying a second-hand pair of top quality boots, preferably Gaerne. See our video about choosing the best boots. Think laterally. I know a few guys who now buy their gloves at the hardware store, saying these last much longer than dirt bike gloves and are half the price. buy goggles which have replaceable lenses. And if the weather is cool, what's wrong with a flannelette shirt and jeans? Google around before you buy stuff. See what riders are saying on the forums. A lot of reviews are actually paid for by the manufacturers, and certainly most don't take the long-term view with wear and tear. Regular viewers will know I was very disappointed recently to see some of the brackets on Suomi and Aero helmets are rusting and letting the strap fall off. Do your research, Google everything before you buy it. Don't necessarily trust reviews too much. Here are some extra tips. And this vid has barely touched the surface of tight ARSE dirt riding tips for us tightwads. Please add your suggestions in the comments and be sure to read what others have written too.